we are going to make one of my favorite pastas today. I think it's become one of everybody's favorite pastas, cacio e pepe. And cacio e pepe, up until like about 30 years ago, was not even something you would find in a Roman restaurant because it was thought to be too simple. And it's super simple, which means it should be pretty easy to make at home if you have the right technique, and that's what we're going to be doing today. First, I want to tell you about the ingredients. So cacio e pepe. Cacio just means cheese in Italy. It was sort of an old dialect for cheese, and in this case it's referring to a specific kind of pecorino. And pecorino is sheep milk cheese. That's all it is. In Rome, since this is a Roman dish, they use pecorino romano. That's not always easy to find. Any kind of good, sort of pungent, sharp sheep's milk cheese is great. If you're it's maybe a little bit too strong for you, you can mix it with a bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. That's not traditional, but maybe Parmigiano Reggiano is all you have. I usually use mostly pecorino with a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano. And then, of course, Pepe. Pepe means, in this case, black pepper. I have ground a lot of it here, and you want it to be freshly ground because that'll give it its bite. In Rome, you'll usually find cacio e pepe served with a pasta called tonarelli, which is a fresh pasta. It's a flour and water pasta. It's similar to, it's a long pasta like spaghetti. At home, nobody's bothering with that. We have a pack of one of our favorite paella spaghettis here, and it's the good thing, the important thing to remember is to get a high quality pasta to use with this. And so now I'm going to go grate the cheese, and I'll be right back to show you how to put it together. I grated the cheese, you can see here. Now that's 220 grams of grated pecorino cheese. Now in the end, I tasted it and it wasn't so strong, so I'm not using any Parmigiano, and that would make all the Romans really happy because it's sort of sacrilegious to add any Parmigiano. But if you're at home and you can't find pecorino, that's okay. The way that I grated it was in my food processor. It has a grating attachment, but if you're at home, you want to use a box grater, and you want to use the special side that does it very finely. You don't want to use the big side. You want to make it really fine and almost like dust, you can see here. And so now I'm going to do a technique that I learned from Flavio Villavedetto in Rome. Flavio is the chef of a restaurant, and he taught me this technique because I think a lot of the problem that people have when they're making cacio e pepe at home is that you end up with kind of a gooey mess where you have sort of slippery wet pasta on the one hand, and then you have these gobs of cheese on the other. And what's not happening is the cheese is not emulsifying with the water. And of course, the pasta cooking water is very important in this dish. But the way that Flavio sort of taught it to me, it takes a lot of the stress out of it because you amalgamate the cheese with a bit of water ahead of time. And the water he uses is simply regular flat water. I'm using bottled water here. And he puts it in a bowl and mixes it with a hand mixer. Now, when Flavio does it, he's very, very insistent that he uses a plastic bowl because he can't stand the sound of the mixer on a metal bowl or a glass bowl. And I sometimes use a plastic bowl too, but today I'm going to use this bowl so that you can see what's going on. It's a glass bowl. So what I'm going to do is put all of the cheese in. That was 220 grams of cheese. And now here's the pepper. And the pepper, I'm going to add quite a bit of pepper. That was probably about 1/4 cup of ground pepper. I'm going to start sneezing now. And so what I'm going to do is take some water. And I know this is going to be very weird. I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to start blending. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a paste, and I'm going to start going, and the amount of water, I don't really know, but you want it to be a paste. Almost there. I'm just going to add a bit more water, and I'm going to get a spoon and sort of scrape it down. So I am just about finished, and you see it's a paste. And what I'm going to going to do is just taste a bit of it. Yeah, it tastes like it tastes like your dream cheese spread. It's a little crunchy because of the pepper. It's very, very peppery. I like it peppery. I'm going to start coughing now, but you can see that it's sort of gray from the pepper. I put a lot of pepper in there because we like it peppery. You can put a little less pepper in, but now this is ready to go on your pasta. And I'll show you how to put it all together. I'm going to go boil the pasta now. I put the pasta in the water. It's almost done. And when it's done, see, it's not quite done. When it's al dente, I'm going to drain it, but I'm going to let it stay a little bit wet, and I'm definitely going to take 1 or 2 cups of the pasta cooking water to add. The other piece of equipment you need is a big bowl. Even though this looks too big to serve enough pasta for 3 people, you want it big because I'm going to really stir it around. And as you can see, I didn't use quite all of the cheese. That'll be more than enough. And the other piece of equipment is you want a fork. And I'm using this weird grill fork because it's got 2 prongs, and I know I'll be able to stir it really, really fast. And that's one of the techniques that I'm going to be using, stirring really fast. And I just wanted to mention this whole technique of blending the cheese with the pepper is not traditional at all. And a lot of people are going to say, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing that. It's just something I learned from Flavio in Rome, and it really does work. So I drain the pasta, and it's still dripping wet, and I'm going to add it here with just a little bit of water at first. And now I'm going to just start stirring, and it'll amalgamate. And the trick is stirring it, and don't get tired. And eventually it'll all come together. I'm going to add a little more water now. Oh, it's already smelling fantastic. Stir. Hard to see because of the steam. Oh, and I can already tell it's already making a wonderful coating on this. There you can see how each strand is coated, and it's ready. And no clumps of cheese at the bottom. Every strand coated with creamy, cheesy, peppery. Pepe is you have to eat it right away. It's not one of those pastas you can make ahead of time because the cheese starts to seize up immediately. And you have to make sure everybody's ready to come to the table. I'm going to go call Domenico now. He's out in the vegetable garden. And you can see, looks perfect.